Hey guys, and welcome back to Film Fridays. In last week's episode, we reviewed the Lomography reusable film camera, and today we're going to be reviewing another reloadable plastic film camera, but this time it's from Double Film. Double Film is another film company that also sells film and cameras, but they're only like the plastic reloadable ones, nothing fancier than that. But they do specialize in experimental films like Lomography does. Their double film, the camera that Double Film sells is called the Double Film Show reusable camera. The camera that Double Film sells is called the Show reusable camera. It looks like this. It comes in a lot of different colors. The one that I bought was this black one. It comes with the orange cord, and they do sell a case with it. This is what the case looks like. Nothing too fancy. It's literally just plastic. Like, it's not super protective or anything. But it doesn't really matter. At least it shouldn't really matter because there's nothing much to protect here. It's literally a piece of plastic. So I wouldn't even use the case, even though it does come with it and it is pretty cool. It's really just nice packaging to sell it in. You don't need a case, in my personal opinion, to carry this around, and I think that's something super nice about it, is that you could just really throw it in your bag and it really should be fine. Like I said, this is the black one. They come in a lot of different other color patterns. Unlike the Lomography pack, this pack didn't actually come with a roll of film. So since this didn't come with a pack of film, I ended up buying a Double Film 35mm roll of film to go along with this. This does take any brand of 35mm film. It doesn't only have to be Double Films. Anything 35mm will work. But I chose the Pacific one. It's said to, or Double Film says that you should expect orange hues and then metallic-y blue hues, and I'll show you guys or how my pictures ended up coming out, and that's exactly what I got. So definitely expect that. Definitely an experimental film. Definitely a brand that specializes in experimental film. And I ended up paying, and I don't remember how much I paid for this, but I looked it up from the camera store that I do shop at, and I don't want to say I spent $60 for this, but the website says $60. And I'm only making that face because, as we reviewed in last week's episode, the Lomography reloadable, reusable film camera that came with a pack of their 35mm film, I believe cost like $24. So looking back on this and seeing that I spent $60 on this, is kind of insane, and I want to cry, but that's okay. I actually haven't picked this up since I used that Pacific film, and which just shows not how not worth it was, but how it's just you know, it's just a regular plastic reloadable film camera. But we'll get into that. First, I want to show you guys where I used these photos, and I took the Pacific pack and this on a trip with me to Maine, so I'll roll some of those clips right here so you guys could see what I was photographing. It is. So those were some of the clips that I took from Maine on my DSLR, and now I'm going to show you guys some of the photos from Maine. As you can see, it's exactly how Double Film described it. It's super either orangey or blue. I feel like when there was more sunlight, it would turn out more blue toned, and when there was less sunlight, it would turn out more orange. But it was really either or. When I took a couple landscape photos, it definitely wasn't as bad when it was super sunny outside. You can barely notice the orange or blue tones in it, but it still doesn't look like a regular, you know, Fujifilm Superia 400 film. This film did come with 36 exposures, and it was at a 400 ISO, which is pretty standard, but again, just it's meant to be an experimental film. There's a couple photos where it was taken on a really foggy day because the weather up there, it wasn't that sunny at all on some of the days, and those are super, super dark. I could barely see what's being captured in the photo, and it didn't necessarily ruin the photos, but it's definitely, if I was working on like a project that required me to take like beautifully shot photos for like a client, I probably would not use this film because it's experimental in that, yes, the tones will shift and you are to expect that, but you honestly have no clue how the tones are going to reflect after you take the picture and print them out, especially if this is your first time using this film, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't mess around with that, and I also wouldn't mess around with it because I don't entirely love how it looked. If I really was into the look, then I would probably continuously buy the film and try to master, how to use that, knowing how, when it's developed, how the colors will come out, if it's brighter outside or darker, or if I got more used to that after buying a couple rolls, I would definitely do that, but I wasn't into these colors. That's not to say that some of the other packs aren't super nice. They do have so many other experimental films on their website that I am interested to try out. Is it necessary to buy this camera to try them? Not at all, and to be honest, I'd be more interested in seeing how those films perform on some of my other better quality film cameras, and especially compared to the lomography one that we reviewed last week. As you can see, I'll put up all the double film kind of features of this camera right here, and then all of the lomography features. They're all pretty much the same. It's off by a couple numbers, a couple measurements, but really that shouldn't affect the outcome of the picture too badly. Really not noticeably at all for a beginner. But the one thing is that this camera doesn't have those like color gels that the lomography one does have. So double film really markets this camera as mostly just being eco-friendly, and the lomography one does that too. You could get a way higher quality Canon, Olympus, Konica camera for about the same price, $60, even less if you're looking, on eBay for them. So I would definitely say that this is not worth $60. If you wanted a plastic one, instead of spending the $60 on, say, a Canon, Olympus, Konica, and Nikon one, I would definitely say shoot for the lomography one. It's $24, so way cheaper, and it comes with a roll of film. I still can't believe I spent $60 on this. Looking back on it, what a waste of money. Such a waste of money. And I should have been able to tell just by kind of seeing what this offered. It really doesn't offer much, in my opinion, and that's not to crap on the camera, but it really is just, it just takes the pictures for you. And for $60, if this thing was like $5-10, maybe I'd use it, especially since it doesn't come with a pack of film. And even, again, the website markets it as an eco-friendly camera. A lot of other cameras are eco-friendly, and they come with way more features, way better quality. And then they also kind of like really market that it has flash. That's like their main selling point, really, about this camera, which the lomography one has the flash, but it also has the really cool color gels that come with the flash for a way cheaper price. So again, compared to the lomography one, this one is really not worth the money, and I would not get it. And the lomography film, I showed you guys how it looked really awesome with the color gels, but it also looked well without the color gels. This one, you're not going to have the effects through the flash and be able to change the tones through that, which is cool because experimental film is always fun to play around with. And again, double film offers a variety of films to choose from. But if you're on the same roll and you're one of those photographers who kind of keep the same roll in and take like one picture every day or one picture at every event, and you know, aren't using this for a shoot and aren't going to use a whole roll up in one day. I feel like it would kind of be quite annoying to have a whole roll of experimental film in here and be taking it to multiple events, just because it wouldn't be easy to kind of like switch out that film. Whereas the lomography one, if I wanted to take some experimental photos one day and then I wanted to, say, shoot my brother's graduation, I could easily flip up the color gels and take really, really nice realistic pictures of a graduation, for example. But yeah, so those are my reasons as to why the lomography camera is way better than this one. And that's all I have to say about this double film camera. I would not get it if I were you. But yeah, that's all for today on Film Fridays. Make sure to check back in next week when we'll be reviewing another reloadable film camera from another brand. Yeah guys, thanks for watching.